Hey everybody, Nate here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to set up your own Streamlabs to get it working for you so that you can begin to design it and then ultimately be able to distribute it out to your students for use for recording. So Streamlabs is a super customizable kind of setup. It's free with no watermarks, which is why I use it. And once you get used to it, it's actually, I think in a lot of ways, easier to use than some other recording softwares out there, just because I get a little bit more input on how I want things to appear. So first, let's go ahead and just acknowledge that this is the base screen for Streamlabs, and I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like right now. So here it is. And what you're going to be seeing is that I have a bunch of scenes over here. Okay, so you can see I've got ones under a bunch of different names, teaching, recording, test scene, etc., etc. And then I've got some here that say this kind of area. It says sources. We'll talk about that here in a second. And then overall, I've got this area called mixer. And then here in the very center, I can see what my screen is actually going to look like, right? So how Streamlabs works is that you set up a number of scenes that you would like to use. And think of these as like different kind of models or setups that you might feature information. So what I'm using right now, for example, might be used if I were displaying information, and I'll go ahead and show you what this looks like here. So, for example, you can see I've got my background, and this might be like if I was talking about some kind of bit of information, I wanted my head to be up in the corner, right? So I have this setup here for that. But if I didn't like that and instead I wanted to just have my face on the camera, I can really quickly just adjust that, or I could set up an entire different scene where it was only my face that was featured. So first things first, let's go ahead and talk about how you set up a new scene, okay? So you can actually begin to build your own. Now just be aware, my mic might drop off here when I first do this. So just be aware of that as this happens. And what I'm going to probably do is I'm going to go ahead and I will probably turn off my webcam just for a second so you can actually see what this would look like. And I'm only going to leave on the display capture so that you guys can hear me but then not see me. Okay, so if I were opening up Streamlabs for the first time, okay, here's what this would look like. So my screen would kind of look like this, right? I would not even have my display capture on. So I would go ahead and it would just kind of be blank. Okay, I would just kind of have this blank area. And what I would do at first is I would come over here and I would add my new scene. And let's say it was this new test scene. Okay, and so I'm going to go ahead and kind of let this, I would go ahead and give it a name, and then I would hit OK. The first things that you'll want to do is you'll want to go ahead and you want to add two sources right off the bat once you've got a scene. You can just call it like teaching, recording or whatever you'd like. So the first two sources I'm going to add. The first thing is you want to add a webcam. And let's go ahead and do that first. So I'm going to hit plus here. It says add a new source to your scene. So I'm going to hit plus, and then all the way over, you can see we've got all these different options, and there's a lot of stuff here. I'm going to keep it really simple. I'm just going to click video capture device. And so I'm going to click video capture device. It says add source. And then, it says, hey, add existing source. So I've already got one that's set up, but let's say that it was a brand new source that I've never done before, which is what you would do here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead. I would look for my camera. I would hit done. Okay, and it would add my camera there. Okay, but since I've already got one, it's not doing it. So anyways, this is what it would look like, right? So all of a sudden then, hey, look, my face would pop up. Okay, if I were to correctly add the camera. Now this box, okay, you can see here that I can kind of move it around. This is where we start to get into the design part of our Streamlabs and scene setup. I'm going to go ahead and leave that just for a second. We'll get to that here in a moment. The second thing that you'll want to probably do is you want to add a mic, okay, because it's really important that people hear you. Now you can see right here, we're going to do the same thing. Okay, we're going to go add a source. We're going to do, in this case, audio input capture, okay, and then, okay, add source. Okay, and then we would go and we would add our microphone. You just go to add source, you add your microphone, and boom, voila, it's there. And so then what yours would start to look like, okay, and I'll go ahead and show this to you now. So yours would start to look like this. Yes, go ahead and remove. Yours would go ahead and, let's see, audio output capture. Nope, we haven't done that one yet. We'll do that in a second. Okay, so here's what yours would look like. It would just have this very simple display capture, webcam, webcam and mic. That's all we've done so far, webcam and mic. The display capture is what I'm doing right now, is I'm capturing what's on my desktop so that you can actually see it. And when I go to plus, okay, display capture, okay, I can add what's on a monitor. And so again, I hit add source and then boom, voila. Whew. Okay, so now you can see everything that I'm doing. So from here, this is where now all of a sudden we've really got the basic 3 elements that we need to start recording. We've got what's on our screen, we've got our face, and we've got our audio that people can listen to. And really that's the base kind of setup. From here, now we can start to kind of talk about design of where you want to go with Streamlabs. So if we've got the basic 3 elements, they can hear us, people can see us, and they can also see what's on our desktop, then we can start to think about some of these other elements about how our Streamlabs looks. Now let's say, for example, that you always want to have your face up here in the corner, okay? Down here, you might have noticed that there's some locks next to our sources. And if we click these locks, so I'm gonna go ahead and click it on webcam right now, you can see that all of a sudden now I can't click on my face anymore and move it around. This is really helpful during a design phase when you're trying to set things so that you can kind of get things properly positioned, because you don't want you to be accidentally dragging and moving elements around the screen while you're building. But I'm going to go ahead and turn that off just so I can bring back my face and move it around easily. The second thing is then you can start to think about other elements that you might want to have on your kind of scene setup. Okay, and again, you can make multiple different scenes for different things, so just remember, you don't have to do this on everything. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to show you a couple of different options that you might want to use. The first, okay, if you wanted to add an image to your screen for whatever reason that was perpetually on there, that's where you can do that. Browser source, so if you want to have different websites that like you have a website area that's on your screen for some reason, that's there. Image slideshow, just what it sounds like. Display capture, if you want to have like 2 monitors going at the same time, you could have one on half the screen, one on the other half of the screen. That's what that is. Game capture, you probably won't use unless you're streaming for Twitch or something like that. And then they've got some other options over here, and let's go ahead and check these out because these are worth our time. Let's say, for example, that you wanted to make it so that your face was in a border, right? I'm going to click here on color source. I'm going to say add source. I'm just going to call this face box, and I'm going to add it. And you're going to see that I'm going to get a bunch of different options. So let's say I want this box that's going to go around my face. It's going to be kind of this reddish color. And all of a sudden you can see now I've got this red box right here that I can move around the screen. Now I want this box, this element, to be behind where I'm talking right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it and I'm going to drag it down to the bottom of the source list. Okay. Oh, you can see I moved a little too far. It was behind display capture. It needs to be above my display capture screen, but behind my face. So I have to be kind of careful where I drag and click. From there, okay, you can see that I can move it a little bit behind my head, but then something's going on. It won't let me actually stretch the box out so that it properly kind of fits. There's 2 solutions to this. One, you could just make the box larger outside of the screen so that the diagonals still apply, and then, hey, look at that. I've got now a customizable box around my face. If you don't like that, and you're like, no, I really need like this to be only on the screen, it needs to be precisely fitting, here's where you can start to go in and then customize some of the appearance of some of these elements. So I'm just going to click on Facebox here, my source, this red box down here, and I'm going to right click on it. And I'm going to go to Filters, okay? And then I'm going to hit this little plus, okay? And it says Image Mask Blend. I'm going to choose Crop. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then, now all of a sudden, I'm going to think about, okay, what part of my box needs to be cut off? And it's clearly the bottom, right? And what we're doing here is we're eliminating pixels off of the bottom of this particular box. So let's try 100. Okay, so you can see all of a sudden our box got a little bit skinnier. Let's try 150. That's a little bit better. Let's try 160. And you just kind of guesstimate your way there until you get what you want. So 170 looks nice. And then, hey, look at that. I got a perfectly sized box, and it doesn't extend outside the screen of where I'm trying to work right now. And again, I can lock that element so that it never moves, okay? And my face, if I was like, oh, okay, I want to get my face back to the same spot, I could just kind of drag it back there. But again, I can lock that element too if I'm satisfied for where that is. But there's other things too here that you might want to do. So for example, if you wanted to, again, talking about design here, capture the output of the audio of your computer. Okay, this is where you can do that. So audio output capture. Let's say that you wanted to, for example, like play like you were helping walk students through a recording of the rainforest, right? This is where this would become really, really useful because you could hit play on your computer and the audio from that video would go through Streamlabs so that students could hear it too. And so all you do here is audio output capture. And if you were to add a new source, okay, you just add source, you say, okay, you basically go to your default, okay, which is probably your speakers on your computer, and then you just say done. And then all of a sudden, it's been added over here in the mixer. The last thing that I will mention, and this kind of gets into design as well, is how do you adjust the sounds and the different levels that your computer is picking up. So for example, let's say that I had a video that was playing for my students and I wanted them to really hear the audio because maybe it was really quiet. I can take this mixer option down here and I can drag it all the way to the right so that it's as loud as possible. Let's say though I need to boost the sound of my mic. I can take that slider over here in the mixer and I can drag that. Okay, and that's how you can set up your proper mic levels so that they're not too loud or too soft. Okay, and so you can see now probably my mic has gotten a little bit louder on the recording. Once you've done that, okay, that's really kind of the base setup for Streamlabs. You can see here that it's continuing to record as I talk, and it will actually not shut off until your computer runs out of storage space. So you can record very, very long videos if that's really something that you want. And you can see here, this only took me about 10, 12 minutes to set up. If I were actually doing it quickly, it might only take me probably 5 minutes to set up. From there, again, let's say that I wanted to kind of leave this setup here, but I wanted one where just my whole face was talking. There's two ways I could do that. The first that I could do is I could make a whole new scene where only this source for the webcam is full screen, right? The second option is I could just go to the webcam right here, unlock it, and then just drag it whole screen whenever I want to talk in the full screen. But if you feel like that's clunky, just make a new scene that you can talk to. Other than that, the design of your setup is completely up to you. You could have, for example, like an anchor chart over in one corner of it. You could have pictures and text and other media. It's completely up to you from this point. And so the design of how your Streamlabs looks then is, very customizable, as you can imagine. So I hope this introduction and tutorial was helpful for you, and look forward to seeing you later. Bye.